Over the centuries, people have found and continue to find interesting and important objects from long-vanished civilizations. Whether they are discovered through intense searching or merely stumbled upon, which often seems the case, these finds can convey key details about the cultures that created them, including their ritual practices, artisanal skills, societal values, and daily life. From the Dead Sea Scrolls to the Rosetta Stone, here are 6 most incredible archaeological finds discovered by accident. Number 1. The Dead Sea Scrolls. The Dead Sea Scrolls contain some of the earliest known pieces of the Bible, but they might never have been found if not for a group of Arab teenagers. In 1947, a band of young Bedouin goats and sheep herders were tending their flock near the ancient city of Jericho. While looking for a lost goat, one of the boys tossed a stone into a nearby cave and was shocked to hear what sounded like a shattering clay pot. When he went in the cave to investigate, he found several jars containing a collection of ancient papyrus scrolls. Tiny scraps of the scrolls would later sell for millions, but the Bedouins were unaware of their value and sold the entire lot to a Bethlehem antiquities dealer for less than $50. Scholars eventually confirmed the text's importance, sparking a frenzy of relic hunting that led to the recovery of several thousand other bits of papyrus from nearby caves. Taken together, these artifacts are now considered to be among the most significant archaeological discoveries of the 20th century. Number 2. Derinkuyu Underground City. The rocky landscape of Turkey's Cappadocia region is home to dozens of underground cities that were once hand-carved from volcanic ash by their ancient inhabitants. One of the most elaborate of these subterranean metropolises is Derinkuyu, which contains 18 stories and enough space to house some 20,000 people. Amazingly, the site was only discovered as recently as 1963, when a local man knocked down a wall while renovating his home and uncovered a passageway leading to a vast network of stone tunnels and chambers. Experts are still unsure who built Derinkuyu or when, but excavations have found that it once housed its own meeting halls, shops, freshwater wells, stables, and even heavy stone doors to protect its residents from danger. Number 3. Lascaux Cave. In September 1940, 4 French teenagers were roaming the forest near Montignac when their dog began sniffing around a mysterious hole in the ground. After shimmying down a stone shaft, the boys encountered a vast underground cavern whose walls were adorned with some 2,000 ancient paintings and engravings. The astonished teens initially agreed to explore the grotto in secret, but they later sent word of the find to their school teacher, who persuaded a cave expert to verify its authenticity. Before long, word of the Lascaux Cave's exquisite collection of animal drawings and abstract symbols had spread across Europe, and it became known as the Sistine Chapel of prehistoric art. Historians later placed the age of its paintings at around 15,000 to 17,000 years old, and many believe the cave was once the site of religious and hunting rites among Upper Paleolithic peoples. Number 4. The Xian Terracotta Army. In 1974, a group of Chinese farmers chanced upon the discovery of a lifetime, the tomb of the first emperor of the Qin dynasty. The 7-man team was digging a well near the city of Xian when one of their shovels struck the head of a buried statue. The men initially thought they had discovered a bronze bust or an ancient Buddha sculpture, but when archaeologists conducted further excavations, they found it was one of some 8,000 life-sized terracotta soldiers, horses, and chariots constructed to guard the 3rd century BC Emperor Qin Shi Huang in the afterlife. The tomb and its highly detailed soldiers, each has its own unique face, are now regarded as some of the most important archaeological treasures in all of China. Number 5. The Rosetta Stone. When he launched his doomed Egyptian campaign in the late 18th century, Napoleon Bonaparte brought along a special unit of scientists and historians tasked with collecting relics and studying the country's history. This so-called Institute of Egypt proved particularly useful in 1799, when soldiers led by Pierre-François Bouchard stumbled upon a large basalt slab while knocking down ancient walls to make improvements to a French fort near the town of Rosetta. The Institute quickly dated the stone to the 2nd century BC and determined that it was inscribed with an ancient decree written in 3 different languages: Greek, Demotic, and hieroglyphics. Led by Jean-François Champollion and Thomas Young, language experts would spend the next 20 years using the Greek passages to crack the code of ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics, which had been lost to history for millennia. Once deciphered, the glyphs provided scholars with the tools they needed to begin the first in-depth studies of ancient Egyptian language and literature. Number 6. Uluburun Shipwreck. In 1982, sponge diver Mehmet Sakir was swimming in the Mediterranean Sea off Turkey's Uluburun coast when he found himself face to face with the ruins of a 50-foot-long sunken ship. The ancient wreck had been at the bottom of the sea for so long that much of its cedar hull had disappeared, but Sakir spotted several ceramic jars as well as hundreds of glass, copper, and tin ingots. Underwater archaeologists later spent 10 years studying the Uluburun wreck. Over the course of more than 20,000 dives, they recovered a treasure trove of late Bronze Age relics ranging from elephant tusks and hippopotamus teeth to jewelry and even a scarab inscribed with the name of the Egyptian queen Nefertiti. While dating from a piece of firewood confirmed that the ship was some 3,300 years old, one of the oldest wrecks ever discovered, historians are still uncertain of its origins. Its cargo of copper was traced to Cyprus, but archaeologists also found Mycenaean, Assyrian, Canaanite, and Egyptian artifacts, leading many to conclude that the ship was a merchant vessel manned by an international crew.